back to another odd topic with your host, Mister. And today we're going to take a look at something that a lot of us consume and quite often, fruits and vegetables. Now, for some reason, there's a big difference in the way fruits and vegetables looked hundreds or even thousands of years ago to the way they look today. Now, what's got me scratching my head is why change the appearance? I mean, did we want prettier fruits and vegetables? I mean, did we need a more photogenic produce to sit in the baskets for these oil paintings? I'm confused here. Somebody please help. So what else did they change? Some of the things looking into that question alone are startling. Let's take a look. A brain consists of fats, proteins, amino acids, glucose, and micronutrients. Each has its own individual function, which can play an overall factor in our mood, health, and energy levels. Now, omegas 3 and 6 are some of the fatty acids found in our brains. Omegas are good fats, but fats like trans and saturated fats are actually bad fats which can alter the health of the brain. Amino acids. Amino acids are the precursors for neurotransmitters, dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. Protein. Protein is an organic compound consisting of large molecules composed of one or more long chains of amino acids. Together, amino acids and proteins can affect your alertness, how you feel, and weight control. Different ingredients in foods can trigger this effect by causing the brain to release dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin at different levels. So in plain, eating a more balanced meal will result in a more balanced brain. You eat more of an unbalanced meal, well,
$5 for you. No cash.
Now our brain also benefits from antioxidants. An antioxidant is a molecule that prevents oxidation, which is basically deterioration producing free radicals that can harm the cells of the brain. We can get these antioxidants and other micronutrients, which are minerals like B vitamins 12, 6, Z vitamins, zinc, and more, from eating our fruits and vegetables. For the brain to basically digest all these micronutrients without having any issues, it would need a large intake of fuel. One form of this brain fuel, so to speak, would be carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are organic compounds usually found in foods, living tissues, starch, sugars, and cellulose. Our body breaks this down into glucose. Glucose is a simple sugar which is an essential source of energy in living organisms. The frontal lobe of the brain is what is going to alert you with a reaction to how much glucose is in the body. So differences in energy levels, libido, esteem, problem-solving skills are all key indicators that there is an issue in our nutrition. A good example would be white breads or grains. These are high glycemic, which would cause you to release glucose very quickly into the blood, causing a spark in energy, but soon a decrease in mood, energy, and attention. So basically, what you eat will affect how you feel. What you eat will affect what you think. What you eat will affect how you go about your day-to-day life. Now, keep that in mind throughout the duration of this show. Do not forget what we just discussed. That is very important when we look at the rest of the details to this story. Which brings us to the reason we're even doing today's show. What even brought on this question? Let's look in the big difference in appearance between these fruits then and now. Altered fruits produce no seeds and are usually sweeter in taste. Most hybrid fruits and vegetables can't survive without the help of humans to repopulate the seed, being that they yield no seeds. ForeverHealthy.net warns to avoid hybrids which contain higher sugar and less nutrients that seeded, unaltered varieties usually tend to carry. MarksDailyApple.com quotes they are crossbred to maximize desired traits like durability, yield, size, and taste. We know there are many reasons they have stated as to why they've created this hybrid fruit or vegetable, ranging from food shortages to growing outside normal growing seasons, to be pest or mold resistant, to grow a larger yield, to be more appealing to the eye and tastier. That's the one that gets me. What are you altering to make it tastier? Of course, everything else is just as important, but what did they do to make the taste of these fruits and vegetables change? They added sugar. This culprit set off many red flags. Your sweet receptor, located at the tip of the tongue, sends a message up to the cerebral cortex, which processes salty, bitter, umami, and sweet. Eating sugar causes those sweet receptors to send that message to the cerebral cortex. This then activates an area of electrical pathways which give you the sensation of reward. It can also be activated by other things like sex, drugs, etc. Like with the use of these, a craving or strong desire can form into an addicting habit. For instance, using drugs can cause the brain to release dopamine in excessive levels, which the brain begins to get used to and needs more in order to reach a new desired sensation. Sugar wouldn't cause this on normal or low consumption levels, but however, if eating sugar in excessive amounts, the brain does begin to get used to the taste and creates a craving for more, leaving you addicted to sugar. I know. Now I'm sure you're thinking, man, I had to eat a lot of sugar for that to happen. I mean, we aren't just sitting around eating candy all day. So how would one get addicted to sugar if one isn't even eating sugar at that amount? Or are they? Well, actually in the 1700s, the average human ate a pound of sugar per year. Now, a human consumes 134 grams of sugar per day. That's a lot of sugar. In 1950, the death rate by heart disease had reached 30%. It had increased 20% within 50 years, being it was only 10% in 1900. 1955, Dwight D. Eisenhower had a heart attack, which shocked the nation. It spread fear in the people and caused an unavoidable health conscience to awaken in the people. People wanted healthier food, and that fear turned into a demand. Shortly after this widespread panic, the Dow dropped $14 billion, causing the food moguls to panic. None of their products were selling. They are losing money, and they are losing money fast. One Ancel Keys, an American scientist, took the task of researching the American diet. He concluded Americans were indulging in high-fat diets. He is the author of several books to include The Biology of Human Starvation, 7 Countries, a multivariate analysis of death and coronary heart disease, How to Eat Well and Stay Well the Mediterranean Way, Overeating, Overweight, and Obesity, and The Benevolent Being. America had had enough. They demanded a low-fat diet. So indeed, food moguls were scrambling to find new ways to market their foods and get these products back on the shelves. USDA issues its first ever low-fat dietary guidelines for America. No one was buying anything high in fat. Now, the reason fat had such an impact on the market is because fat was used to flavor the foods. Now I'm sure you've put two and two together. Being that they can't use fat as an ingredient to increase the flavor, they're now using sugar. Sugar is used to increase the flavor. They offered money to any scientist who could find a study that could prove scientifically that sugar was good for you. The results were devastating. Dead livestock, animals that were decayed so that autopsies could not be performed, tumors, cut out tumors, and more. But the funny thing is, they had to have already known sugar was bad from previous studies done in the early 1800s. Despite this information, they still pushed this monster into the market. Elva Verner McMullen, or E.V. McMullen, wrote The History of Nutrition, which discredited all sugar tests. Scientists were wrong on their sugar studies. Apparently, these sugar studies were being funded by the food moguls. Facts began to surface. For example, 1965 Crux paper played a big role in pushing sugar to the top. Come to find out, they were paid $50,000. In the 1950s, that was a lot of money, to argue sugar was good and cholesterol was bad, slipping sugar back into the flavoring process. Seems like they were kind of tricked into choosing from the lesser of the two evils. Key words here being two evils. Lo and behold, the public felt that they couldn't trust the food moguls.
I don't trust you.
They couldn't trust the food that they were buying. By 1966, the Fair Labeling Act was put into place. This ensured the customer they would have all the information needed to make a health-conscious decision right there on the label. The label must include what's actually in the product, how much, and who made it. 5 years after enforcing the Fair Labeling Act, customers began to notice how much sugar was actually in the foods they were buying. So you know the story, the cycle continues. They push to take the sugars out of the foods. But they didn't actually take sugar out of the foods. They only disguised it and changed the name. So at first, loads of fat, then loads of sugar. Then you change our fruits to be packed with sugar. What are you doing? Odd topic. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, baby.